Today we're going to look at what is the kiln. The kiln is what is going to cook our clay so that we are able to paint it. Okay, we need to let our clay dry for 2 full weeks. And while they're drying for 2 full weeks, we work on other projects. Once they're dried for 2 full weeks, we put them in a kiln and we do what's called a bisque fire. So this is what the kiln looks like. It's in that room in the back by the art smocks. And if the door's ever shut, we just don't go in. And if it's open, that means that it's probably cool. But don't touch it unless Miss Hookham says it's okay. So these are like little air holes where heat can come out. And then this is our control panel. And then I push these buttons to make it work kind of like a microwave. And then inside of here there's about 3 or 4 more layers down underneath here. I don't know if you can see on the edges or anything. But what I do is I'll put a shelf support right here. And then I put another shelf on top and then another class's creations. So once I heat the kiln up, well, I should show this lid comes down on top here too. So once I heat this up, it takes about 4 full hours for the clay projects to cook. And then when we break them out, they have been bisque fired and we're ready to paint them. So let's check out what we got here. If I tip this down, I got my projects right here. This one has been bisque fired. So do you see the difference in color? The ones that are in the kiln have not been fired yet. This one has been fired. Remember when we say it's been fired, we mean bisque fired. That means cooked. So this one's been bisque fired, ready to paint with what's called Underglaze. So this right here is Underglaze. Underglaze. And this is blue Underglaze, and this is black Underglaze. And we got all the different colors of what you'd like to paint it. This one has been underglazed. And he has been cooked again one more time to make sure the color doesn't come off. He is matte finished, so he's not shiny. This one has a clear coat on the top of it, and that is shiny. So this says clear, transparent, or on the top it will say clear. And I'll let you know what those are, okay? So when we're ready to paint, yep, that's all of those. When you're ready to paint, you're gonna grab one of these papers right here. It's kind of messy, but it's dry, so it's not gonna get on you. You're gonna want a piece of paper on your table, and that is over by the drying rack. It's on top of it. You're gonna also wanna put on an art smock. You don't wanna just get your clothes dirty. Then you also need a paper towel, and you need I can't believe it's not butter, thing of water. And then you need a brush or two. Only take the ones that you wanna wash because I'm not washing them for you. These are the kind you want. These are called synthetic brushes. When I touch the tops, they don't move very much. This one is a watercolor brush. See how much it moves? This one is meant to hold lots of water for doing watercolors. So it's kind of like a floppier one. And these are gonna get the colors to the spots where you want them to go. So don't use this one, use these brushes, okay? And again, if you're gonna do a big project, use a bigger brush. If you're gonna do a smaller area, use a smaller brush. So I've got my fish here, got my brushes, got my whole setup here, okay? So choose your first color. Let's say I want it to be, let's do blue. I'll choose blue. No, yeah, let's do blue. We'll do blue. So this is called electric blue. I take my lid off the top. Okay, just kidding. I'm gonna do black because I can't get the lid off. Okay, got black. This one says jet black, and then it also says black down here. And if you're not sure, come up and ask me. Okay, we've got the jar right here. We're not gonna pour this into anything because that will waste paint by trying to get it back in. If you have a color that you'd like to use but somebody else is using it, maybe go sit by that kiddo and you guys can share. All right, to begin painting, choose what you wanna paint. And I dip my brush in. It's kind of down in a little further, so just kind of look down in there. That's about how much paint I want. Don't get any more than that. And let's say I wanna paint his fin right here black. So I'm gonna just kind of dab and pull. So some areas you're gonna need to brush like you're painting, like brush like this. So you're just brushing. And the goal is to get rid of every single white space that you can see. So brushing. So I might need to dab like this a little bit to get into some of those areas. We wanna fill all of that in. If you get it in a spot where you don't want it, see it's on the top of the eyeball here and I don't want it on the eyeball, I can take a little teeny tiny piece of paper towel, dip it in my clean water, and then I can just wipe that part off. And there it comes right off, no problem, okay? So see how that's starting to fill that part of the black up here? If I'm done with my brush, let's say I painted this whole thing and it looks really great, I don't see any white spaces. Now swirl your brush around in the water, I mean the butter, And then dry your brush. You don't want any water in this. So when you're done with the black, you put the lid back on it, go take it back up to the table, and you're gonna grab your next color, okay? Whatever colors you want. Once you're all done with the whole thing, eyeballs are painted, mouth is painted, fins are painted. We don't need to paint the bottom, but once everything else is painted, all the colors that you want, decide whether you want it to be matte finished. If you want it to be matte finished, put it in the bin, you're all done. I'll heat it up one more time. If you want it to be shiny like this, you're gonna add a clear coat on top of it. This says clear transparent and it says clear on the top. There you go. But here's the thing. When I open it, it's pink. So I'm gonna dip in here. It's way down at the bottom. See, it's pink. And when I put it on top of the black that I think is just about dry, well, we'll put it over here on the green area. See where the green eyeball is? When I paint it on top of the green eyeball, now I can't see the green anymore and it's just pink. Paint on top of that, now it's just pink. Those two areas are gonna be super duper shiny, just like this one. Okay, so please trust me that this will turn out shiny. It does take a lot of trust, but just trust me, it will. And even when I paint over the blue part, okay? So you'd put one whole coat of this on the whole entire thing. Bloop, 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 bloop. The whole thing, wherever you want it shiny, but just not the bottom, okay? So when you're all done with your brushes, you're gonna wash them out, dry them off, put them back up in the cup, okay? So just again, you're gonna wanna get a paper from the top of the drying rack, cup of water, paper towel, project on top, couple of synthetic brushes, okay? And then we're all set. All right, happy glazing.